Ever wondered what it's like going for a complete set of a game collection? Ever wonder what would drive a person to want every single game that a console has to offer? Well, that's what I'm here to talk about, because my guy Mort over at Mort's Garage put out a video talking about the experience, I guess, for collecting a complete set. For those of you that don't know, N64 set. And that's every game, every manual, every box. And I too am going for a complete N64 set, but my take on it is a little different than his. So in his most recent video at the time of filming this, he touched on 6 points. I'm going to address them as questions, that way it doesn't kind of give away what he says. So go watch his video after this one, but he basically asked these 6 questions. Will you just sell the collection when you're done? Will you go for another complete set when you're done? Does going for a complete set mean you buy garbage? Is it even fun to buy a complete set? You bought all these games, is it okay to not beat your games? And then what does complete even mean? So I don't have a script for this one, we're just going to talk. So get a drink, a snack, and let's talk about retro collecting, right? So here's my takes on these things. Will you sell the set when you're done? Personally, I have no intentions of selling my complete sets. I plan on playing my complete sets. I am a Let's Player / streamer, so to me, having a complete collection is just more content to stream. I got into full set collecting through a YouTuber, Steven Plays, Steven George, Steven Vlogs, Steven, so on and so forth. I loved my N64 games. When Jessica and I got back together, we met in college, moved back in with my mom. My mom had just moved, and I was helping her move. And in these totes were my N64 games. Donkey Kong, Mario 64, so on and so forth. And I started playing them again. And I mean, we're the same age, so we both played N64 games in the past. But I was a bit more involved, so I'm telling her my experience with these games. And then my buddy gives me a GameCube and like 10 games. I'm talking Super Smash Brothers, Mario Sunshine, or not Super Smash Brothers, sorry. Mario Sunshine, Double Dash, Animal Crossing. I don't remember all of them now, but he gives me these GameCube games. And I'm watching Steven, and Steven says, hey, I'm going for a complete N64 set, because I'm going to stream it on Extra Life. And I remember Jessica coming home from work, and I'm like, oh my gosh, did you know people collect full sets of these things? And we were doing Let's Plays at the time, and I showed her Extra Life. And I said, this is cool. This is something I would like to do. So we decided to do it for the Wii U. For those of you that don't know, I'm going for 3 complete sets. The GameCube, the N64, and the Wii U. And I really wanted to do Extra Life for Wii U. I still want to. Logistically, it kind of seems like a nightmare trying to record the gamepad and all that. But no, I will not be selling my sets when I'm done, as far as I'm concerned. It is stuff to stream until the end of time. There's about 300 games for the N64, about 500 and something games for the GameCube, and almost 160 for the Wii U. So that's 1,000 games to potentially stream, right? So I don't plan on selling my full sets when I get them done. Will you go for another complete set? I honestly do not plan on going for any more complete sets than the 3 I've already mentioned. GameCube, N64, Wii U. I think it'd be cool to collect OG Xbox. I think it'd be cool to collect Switch. I think it'd be cool to collect GBA and DS, 3DS, that kind of stuff. But I don't see myself ever going for complete sets of those. I think OG Xbox is the closest I would come to collecting another set. It's not even that I have a nostalgic attachment. It's more so the thrill of the hunt is very, very exciting. And Xbox stuff is just affordable. When I go out, there's always Xbox stuff. I didn't have an Xbox growing up, but every time I go yard sale game hunting, every time I go flea market game hunting, every time I go video game store game hunting, everybody always has an Xbox selection, right? So it's probably the weakest brand. Its brand is probably weaker than Sega. So there's always Xbox stuff. I'm always finding a game I've never heard of. And I do like that about the Xbox. There's this game shop close to where my dad lives now. And every time I go in there, I find a new Xbox game I've never heard of. That's exciting to me. I don't even necessarily have an attachment to the OG Xbox. It's just going out, and it's like I grew up during the Xbox, the PS2, and the GameCube era. Talking about the turn of the century, I was 6, doing my primitive years, playing games, no care in the world, and I never owned an Xbox, so I've never heard of half of these games. So to me, the Xbox is kind of like this just hidden treasure trove of I'm always finding new games. Will I go for a complete set? Probably not. There's a lot of games that I'm going to already have on the GameCube, like the sports titles and such, so I don't feel a drive to have a complete OG Xbox set. But to me, it's one of the most interesting consoles to collect for, just from my background experience. This is one we may spend a little bit of time on, we'll see. Does going for a full set mean you have to buy garbage? Yeah, I mean... There's no point in lying to you guys. He points out Super Mario 64. He points out Superman 64. Every console's got it, right? I mean, even probably the Switch. Think about the best consoles you can think of. People put Super Nintendo and PS2 and the Switch as some of the greatest consoles ever. And they all have games that are awful. Miserable. Why do these games even exist? It comes with the territory, but that's part of the fun, I think, of being a streamer, being a Let's Player, playing games with friends, is you're going to play some games that are just bad. Even if I wasn't streaming or doing Let's Plays, my wife and I play these games together. I made her play Super Mario 64. That's what I'm planning on being the footage for this video. I haven't decided, but y'all are probably watching her struggle through Superman 64. It's built a reputation as being awful, and it kind of lives up to it with all the rings. I loved the idea of being the man of steel and flying around Metropolis, but the game mechanics and the mini games are dumb. They're just downright not fun. So yeah, of course you're gonna buy garbage. On the Wii U, Devil's Third has kind of built a stigma of not being very good, and it's like a $200 or $300 game, and that's why I haven't pulled the trigger on it. I don't know when I'll pull the trigger on a pile of garbage, but find a way to have fun, right? I mean, you're buying these games, you might as well enjoy them. Have some buddies over, turn it into, I don't know, play Superman 64 and have fun with it. I guess have a buddy over and just see how long it takes you to fly through those silly rings, because that's what me and Jessica did. I'm not saying we had fun with it, but we definitely played the game. Next up is, do you have fun going for a complete set? And I think this was the point that Mort drove home the best, and that's, yeah, it's extremely fun to go for complete sets. I remember COVID, going to try to complete the Wii U set. I'm a historian of these things. I watch way more content over physical collecting than is healthy. And everybody talks about, oh man, if I could go back in time and buy GameCube games when the Wii was coming out. Well, it dawned on me that I could be buying Wii U games at a time where the Switch is coming out. So instead of dwelling on, oh, the Wii U was a commercial failure, there's no good games on it, all the games are being ported over to Switch, I had a revelation. COVID was happening, which meant GameStop was struggling. And as a result, it was 4 for 10, 4 for 20, right? So you're $9.90. You could buy 4 $9.99 games for $20 and 4 $4.99 games for $10. basically half off, right? Buy two, get two. And dude, we went to every GameStop in, I'm going to just say a 50-mile radius. I don't actually know, but we went on our honeymoon down to Jacksonville, and we stopped at a GameStop, and I found Planes Fire and Rescue. And guys, I've been looking for Planes Fire and Rescue for 2 years, and I finally found it at this random GameStop. And that's kind of my point, is it's super, super fun. We went on our honeymoon. We went to like 3 different game stores, and I don't think I found anything Wii U related. And we're driving back home, and there's this comic book store and a GameStop in this town. And we pop in, and there it is. I'm only missing Devil's Third, Just Dance 2019, and Disney Planes Fire and Rescue. And they had Disney's Planes Fire and Rescue. And that's something we still laugh and joke about, is like, you never know. You got to stop at that GameStop just in case. You got to stop at that store just in case. You never know when you're going to find one of the games you're missing. So yes, it's absolutely fun. Nowadays, we have 2 kids, but I work at a video game store, so game hunting is kind of when stuff gets traded in. I'm eyeballing 3 GameCube games right now. Cell Damage. Let's see if I can remember what they are. Some Hot Wheels game, and then an Army Sarge's, real-time strategy. The Green Little Soldier Man. Those are 3 games I don't have. My work's got them. My work also has a Mortal Kombat game and a WarioWare game. So it's kind of like picking and choosing. It's Christmas time. It's very hard to justify buying WarioWare on GameCube, even though it's like, oh, sweet, I need it for the collection. But I've made it fun like that. Games come in on trade-in, and it's like, ooh, do I need this game? Is this a condition upgrade for me? Yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, I think if it stops being fun, there are things you can do. We did a whole video over how to make collecting fun again, but collecting should always be fun. There can definitely be burnout, don't get me wrong. If you run your credit card up, or if you buy too many games, you can definitely go through burnout, right? It's a lot of like space. The biggest reasons I've found for burnout is space and money. So always make sure you're planning accordingly, because if you go crazy, like I would go to McKay's and they'd have heavily scratched Xbox games for 99 cents. Some of my Xbox games I've gotten for 25 cents. That's not a joke, okay? That can pile up on a shelf very quickly. If you're able to buy Xbox games for 25 cents, 50 cents, $1, $2, suddenly you're going to have 50, 100 Xbox games, right? So think about money and think about space, guys. If I can give you any advice, it's think about that. How many games are going to be in your collection? And kind of plan accordingly. How many games can your shelves hold? Because in this house, I've filled up my 2 shelves, and that's one of the reasons I started slowing down. Is I gave myself 2 shelves to play with in this house. When I move, I'll probably get a 3rd shelf, but I have filled those 2 shelves. So I have to make really conscious decisions on what games I'm going to buy, because I'm going to have to rework my shelf somehow. They're not all going to fit, right? So keep these things in mind, guys, to make sure the hobby stays fun, because if you don't think about money and you don't think about space, it's going to bite you in the butt. Then you're going to go through burnout, then it's not going to be fun, yada, yada, yada. 5th, is it okay to not beat your games? Now, he said this was controversial to talk about, because he said, spoilers, he said it's okay to not beat your games. And the only reason I try not to spoil what people say in it, but I think he makes a lot of good points. He talks about how he likes collecting N64 just to look at the boxes, and he shows a picture of Bomberman. And I get what he's saying completely. Like, I want a manual of Mega Man 64. I've beat that game. I just want the manual, right? The manuals are sick. But yeah, I absolutely defend this point. It's okay to not beat your games. They're your games, right? Like, if you don't want to beat them, and again, this is something we did a whole video over, guys. Why people don't beat their games. You buy Final Fantasy 13 thinking it's going to be something, and it's not what you thought it was at all. Or, you're playing Xenoblade Chronicles X, and people tell you after 100 hours, you get to the mech battles, and then it really opens up, and it's just like, I just don't know if I can do this. So, yeah, there's plenty of there's games that I love. Games that I adore. Super Mario Galaxy 2. Absolutely love that game. Could gush about it. Haven't beat it. And I don't know when I'll get around to beating. Better example, Tears of the Kingdom. People always ask me. I have a coworker who will pop in every once in a while and be like, you beat Tears of the Kingdom yet? I'm like, buddy, buckle up. I'm not beating Tears of the Kingdom for like another 3 years. And to me, that's fine. I'm going to beat Tears of the Kingdom at some point, but I'm just in no rush. Like, I'm enjoying exploring the map, going for the shrines. I bounce around. You know, I'm playing that, but then I'll play Mario Kart or Dragon Quest 11, or I'll play Pokemon United, or I'll play some other Pokemon game. It's like, guys, I've got my whole life to beat Tears of the Kingdom, and I will beat it. And then there are games that I have no intentions of beating. There are plenty of games I have no interest in returning to, or at least I need to be in a better headspace before I return to it. Now, I will say, going for complete sets and that kind of hoarder mentality means, even though I've come to terms, like, let's just take ActRiser 2. ActRiser 2. That game changed the genre on me completely. I thought I was buying ActRiser 1, got the games mixed up, bought ActRiser 2. I have no interest in beating that game. I meant to buy ActRiser 1. I bought ActRiser 2. And not that I'm going for a complete SNES collection or anything. I'm just making a point here. Yeah, I've got no interest in beating that game. It's not the game I thought it was, but I should probably sell it and put that money towards an N64 game or a GameCube game or a Wii U game. But I'm just I hold on to all my games. I really do need to sell it. I'm probably never going to beat it. I don't even know if I'm going to play it again. So, I don't know. When we talk about the N64 or the GameCube or the Wii U, there are plenty of games on there that I'll probably never beat unless we stream. There are plenty of Wii U games. I've played almost every Wii U game in my collection to make sure they load and run and everything like that. And I'm probably not going to beat half of them. And I've made my peace with that. Like Barbie Puppy Rescue, do I need to beat that? Not really. I equate it to time for, like, imagine how much you work, how much you make in an hour. And, let's say the game is $60. How long would you have to work to make that $60? For some of y'all, it's not very long at all. For some of y'all, it's a handful of hours you'd have to work to make $60. So let's just say you make $15 an hour. Did you play the game for 4 hours? Because then you've got $60 worth. You get what I'm saying? So I don't think you have to beat a game to get the value out of the game. Especially these games you're buying for $1 to $5. I mean, if you load that up and you play that for one night, dude, you got your $5. I mean, think about going to the movies. That's another way to look at it. Depending on where you live, it can be... Shoot, dude, it can be $40 to go to the movies after you buy your tickets and popcorn, snacks, drinks, and you spent $5 on a video game. You know what I mean? So no, I will die on this hill. You don't have to beat your video games. The last one is, what does complete mean? And I think this just speaks more to collecting as a hobby. So he was talking about, would you want to get consoles in box? Would you want to get controllers in box? When I started out, I never felt that way. I was like, I'm not going to buy GameCube variant controllers. Are you kidding me? Being almost done with the Wii U, it's slim pickings when I go out. It's like Skylander bundles. Or the Amiibo bundles. That's the kind of stuff I'm looking at now. Because when I go into a store, they're not going to have a Wii U game I need. I've never seen Devil's Third in person. I've never seen Just Dance 2019 in person. The two games I need, I've never seen them in person. Stores are not going to have them when I go looking for them. So if I want to collect for the Wii U, it's like, oh, it's one of the Yoshi Amiibo bundles, or it's a Skylanders bundle, or that big Guitar Hero, not Guitar Hero, Rock Band? Guitar, whatever the guitar game is on Wii U. It's got that big box where I think it actually came with a guitar. That's something, I don't need it, right? But it's pretty slim pickings when I go looking for Wii U stuff. And, you know, he was talking about how for his N64 collection, he's going box, game, and manual. I'm personally just going game. And that's for everything I collect. I just need the game. Now, if, like, for GameCube, I don't like collecting GameCube loose, but I've done it before. I have plenty of loose GameCube games. Like on Whatnot streams and yard sales, you can get loose GameCube games pretty cheap. You know, I can get some GameCube games for $1 to $5 loose, where complete you're talking $30 or whatever. So I'm not above buying loose games, and in my opinion, it counts in my book. I've got the game. Other people, no. I mean, when you're talking about disc-based consoles, they need to have the case because the discs are a lot more vulnerable than the cartridge. You know, like my N64 collection, I'm fine if it's loose. And then the boxes and manuals are cool. Don't get me wrong. I've talked about wanting my childhood manuals, Kirby 64, Mario 64, that kind of stuff. I've talked about wanting those manuals, and I would like to get them, but there's no rush. There's no rush. So, wrapping this up, yeah, I absolutely think it's fun to be a full set collector. I would never pressure somebody into this. I'll leave you guys kind of with an anecdotal story because my brother, now this was a month or two ago, he hasn't really given me any update. I guess if he's watching this, he can give me an update. But he said, you know, I want to go for a complete 3DS collection. And I'm like, all right, that's expensive and that's a lot of games. But we talked about it. And he said, well, I really like the consoles, the variants. And I said, well, do that, man. And if you get the games, then sweet. But he really likes the 3DSs. That's his thing. He wants all the different 3DSs. And, you know, I kind of told him, like, go for a full set of the games. Because that's something you can do for as long as you're on this world. There's nothing stopping you 10 years from now piecing together the 3DS collection. And I started my game hunting wanting to get these collections as fast as possible to do streaming and Extra Life with them. But the more I've kind of become a collector, the more I'm like, I'm in no rush. If it takes me 10 more years to finish my GameCube collection, and that's how I balance all of this out. Because I went pretty hot and heavy into collecting early. Now it's like, if it gets traded into work, I get 25% off. I get my discount. I'll just pick it up when it comes into work, right? And that's having done this for, I mean, I've been seriously collecting for 8 years. And that's just kind of the patience you learn in doing this. Is like, yeah, I talk about it all the time. I want Chameleon Twist 2. It is maybe my most sought after game. It's not expensive. It's like $40. I'll get it eventually. I really want it, but I'm in no rush. I'll get it eventually. So that's kind of what I want to leave people with is like, yes, collecting full sets is fun. It's awesome. There's no rush. Like, pick a console you really like. My boy Wrecked Wizard is collecting for PS2, and he's going really ham on it. But at the same time, there's no real rush. There's 1,000 and something PlayStation 2 games. Like, you don't need them by tomorrow. So take your time, enjoy the hunt. That's kind of, in my opinion, what keeps it fun. Is if I rush to finish the GameCube collection, I just got to find something else to do, right? So I'm just enjoying the hunt. So for my fellow retro collectors out there, what are your takeaways on this? Are you a full set collector? Do you view every console as like, I have to collect a full set? Because I love the PlayStation 2. I love the Switch. There's no way I'm going for full sets of those, but I'll still buy games for them, right? So what is your opinion on these 6 points? It's, do you flip your collections when you're done? I think most of us are going to say no to that one. Do you go for another complete set? Personally, I'm saying no to this, but I have 3 complete sets I'm going for. That is going to take a while. How do you feel about buying garbage? I live with it. I think it's fun to throw them in and just have fun with them. Do you have fun going for complete sets, or does it feel like a chore? Do you find it's okay to not beat these games, even though you've put time and money into collecting them and starting them and yada, yada, yada? And what does it mean to be complete for you? Because, you know, my Adam Korlick, he always talks about a complete North American set and a worldwide set where you have to have, you know, he really gets down in the details of what it means to collect a full set. Personally, if I got the game, I'm pretty happy, but I'm always thrilled to have cases and manuals. So I leave all this with you guys to say, what are your opinion on these 6 topics? Do you collect full sets or not? Let me know down below, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you in the next exciting episode.